update on any? No.
I'm not going to talk about injuries. Anything about the game you guys want to talk about?
Which seems to be tough when teams head up there to Louisville, which seems to be a tough game. What is it about that venue, I guess, that makes it tough?
I haven't played there in a while, to be honest. I mean, the last time we were down there was in between staffs, and it wasn't really a game. Other times we were down there is when they were, playing pretty well under Petrino, and they had a great fan base there that day. It was loud. So, it's like any road game. If their fans show up and give them the support, it makes it a harder place to win.
Dave, MJ said after the game the other night that it obviously was a tough game for him, but he would learn from it and be better because of it. Have you seen that in practice from him?
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said earlier in the week, I think we had, because he played so well in the other 6 quarters he played, we had maybe unrealistic expectations that he'd never make a mistake, and so he made a few. He's going to learn from them. He's going to be better for them. That's all you can ask, when these guys are 18, 19-year-old guys when they're in their first year playing, and if they make mistakes, process why it happened and try to make it where that won't happen again.
Have the guys kind of rallied the circle this week?
Yeah, I mean, me and them, us, we were hurting after that game. We felt like we got robbed. And so that's a tough feeling. It's one thing when you get beat. It's another thing when you make a play to win the game and you don't get to celebrate making it. So that was a tough one in the locker room and the next day. And then, we flushed it. And I thought they came out with great enthusiasm, practiced well all week. Proud of them for that. I think that shows maturity on their part, and it's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot lost in that. From a legacy standpoint, the seniors really wanted to win on senior day and accomplish breaking Coach Holtz's record. So, but I do think when they realized that, hey, last year at this time we were 7-3, and we beat Syracuse and then we beat UNC and we had a chance to win 10, and let's not go down letting one game get into the next. That's one thing this team's done a great job of. When we've had a setback, they've responded very well.
How have you kind of seen the evolution of players cross-training in terms of linemen playing multiple positions, safeties playing all 3 spots, defensive line, linebackers? It seems like your depth has really increased over the years because so many guys play different positions.
Yeah, I think, our staff deserves a lot of credit for cross-training guys, and the players ultimately just want to play, right? And so, it's like, if you're an offensive lineman, I tell them, like, wouldn't you rather have 5 lottery tickets than 1? If you can play all 5 spots, you got a chance to play more. And same thing goes in the back end. And at linebacker, if you can learn Mike, Sam, and Will, it's better than just knowing Mike. It gives you a better opportunity to get on the field if you're the next best player. So we try to cross-train the guys that have the ability to do that. Sometimes it's asking too much early in their career. You got to have them really get through a couple seasons, I think, till they can really do that. But it's a value to your depth chart, because now you're deeper than the depth chart looks when you can move a guy over to play a spot.
Because of the portal and early signing day, how much time do you have to spend on sort of roster management throughout the season?
I wouldn't say it's every day, but it's close to every day. Yeah, I mean, and if I'm not, somebody is. Like, our recruiting office is doing that nonstop. You're constantly evaluating your competition, you're evaluating guys that you think might go in the portal, you're evaluating your own roster, obviously. Like, what do we need? How are we performing at this spot versus, the rest of the league? Where do we need to get better? And so that's an ongoing thing. I think from a head coach's standpoint, it's different than the recruiting office, because I'm looking at the 85 scholarships and who's leaving. Hey, who might declare for the NFL early? How does that change what we thought was going to be? And so it's a lot of moving parts right now, a lot.
Along
You
those.
kind of re-recruit your own players at times?
That can happen. I mean, I haven't had to do a ton of that here. It's more been just helping them through the process of, do you want to go pro or not? Sometimes I think there's a misconception publicly when a kid goes in the portal that it's bad. Like, sometimes he just wants to play more, and he's buried in the depth chart where he's at, and I want him to play too. I want him to have a good career and be happy, and if I tell him you're still going to be 3rd and he can go be 1st for someone else, I'm going to help him. So it's not always bad, when a guy does that. So, I think it's just managing, why, if somebody's thinking that way, why are you thinking that way? Sometimes you're getting bad advice, and you got to really look at what's going on here. Somebody giving you advice that's not here and doesn't understand what's happening, you can help them with that.
Has the month of December maybe become too hectic?
Yeah. It used to be a really fun month. Like, you know, you finish your season. If you were bowl eligible, you'd give the guys a little rest, get ready for finals. As coaches, you'd get to change your routine and go to high schools and recruit, go do home visits, get some good meals, you know, and then you'd come back and you'd start bowl prep with your guys. Like it was a celebration almost that you're going to a bowl. You know, now it's just so much more than that. You know, with the early signing day, with the portal, you know, you're always, if you lose a coach, replacing coaches, it's a lot. And NIL's added more to that, you know. So December has become, I wouldn't say it's a month you don't like because there's good things about it, but it's very, very hectic. I mean, there are no breaks. I mean, it's, for me anyway, it's the busiest month of my year.
Have the coaches been talking about making new rules to alleviate some of this?
Yeah, I think, you know, this, I don't know what they're calling it, committee they have that's looking at the calendar and trying to decide best steps now that we have all these new pieces. Has a lot of decisions to make. And coaches have weighed in and kind of given different things for them to consider, and I guess we'll get feedback, you know, when we have another meeting, but haven't heard back from them.
Are you worried about the impact of NIL on keeping your team together, as well as what it might take to help get recruits or transfers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a pretty unregulated thing that has a lot of rules that don't get, you know, enforced. And so it's, you know, if you're at a school like ours where we're going to do things the right way and you're competing against teams that may not, that's difficult when there's no enforcement out there. And so, yeah, it's a concern. It's a major concern. Not because we're not going to be in the NIL space. I mean, our boosters are actively trying to help us. The collectives are, you know, doing what they're able to do and helping our players. And so that part of it's good, you know, at NC State. But as you know, there's other conferences where there's a lot more money involved sometimes. And is it always being done the right way? You know, with no enforcement, I would probably say no.